Ashley. Thank you everybody for joining us this morning as we get into this. As Ashley mentioned, we'll be taking some questions. You can type those into the question panel. I'm by myself today, so I'll get to those as we get towards the end. We're going to get into Fusion and talk about some of the tools that are there. I wanted to get a real quick overview of how to get access to Fusion. Obviously, you can pull it from your Autodesk account. If you go in through the Autodesk update tool or access tool, it'll take you right to your account, and you'll be downloading it from there. And in addition, in your account, you'll probably see some extensions that are included, and we'll talk about a few of those as we go through our topic today. Autodesk Fusion enables comprehensive evolution of your design, spanning from initial concept to the fabrication stage. With its array of CAD, CAM, CAE, and PCB design tools, Fusion empowers you to transform your ideas into tangible reality. In this webinar, we're going to delve into the following topics. We're going to look at some of those 3D modeling tools for parts and assemblies, accompanied by the manufacturing drawings that we may need to produce. We'll try to take a look at some of the sheet metal tools as well, and take a quick overview of the nesting extension. And through all of this, we'll kind of be talking about the collaboration tools, how you can get information to your various stakeholders, whether that's within your organization or outside your organization. And we'll look at some of the ways to do those things. Some of the things that we're going to be getting into today involve the various workspaces for Fusion. Because Fusion can wear so many different hats, these capabilities have been organized into these workspaces. This includes the obvious design workspace, and we're going to spend a lot of time there. We can parametrically design our products. We can do direct edits. We can do mesh edits, sheet metal parts, even some sculpt tools that are involved in the surface side. There is also a generative design workspace, and basically this tool concurrently considers loads, materials, and manufacturing constraints, and generates hundreds of objectives in which we can examine the different possibilities. This really deserves its own demonstration, and that may happen down the line. There is the render workspace, where we can pull up some unique looks at our products, as well as the animation workspace. We'll get into this a little bit today, where we can see some of these products in motion and kind of pinpoint some areas that we might want to change. We're going to get into the simulation workspace, where we can look at different options and different tools for analyzing our products, as well as the manufacturing workspace, where we can look at both additive and subtractive manufacturing options. In our case, we'll be looking at some of the subtractive options. And without boring you guys too much further, I'm going to jump right into the software. We're going to go in and take a look at our different options here. So what we're actually looking at today is this dirt bike design. We've got some options for, looks like my PowerPoint decided to come back up. We've got some options for looking at the different areas of this design. We're going to be working with this. As I go into this, we're going to jump into our animation workspace and take a look at how this is going to play out for us, and maybe pinpoint some of the areas where we're going to be making some changes. As we go through this, you'll see that view orientation and visibility of components is able to be removed. And in our design today, we're looking at a linkage between the shock and this lower bar here, and what that's gonna look like. We're gonna focus directly on that. So given that we've kind of looked in this area, let's go ahead and jump back to our design workspace. And this is where we're going to begin. We're going to go ahead and create a brand new component. And in this component, we'll give it a new name and simply select OK. And as we design this out, you can see that it's been added to the bottom of my browser here. As we go to design this out, we'll pull out a mid plane and get this area pulled in so we can see what we're doing here. Very simply, we can start a simple little sketch. It'll automatically turn for us. And as I get into this and I think about this just a little bit more, I'm actually going to back out and go directly into our rear suspension. So let's pull out of this just a minute and open up the rear suspension. We'll add this component to this area here as opposed to the top level. Same kind of deal. We're going to start with creating our first component. And that same kind of setup. Grab our mid plane. And there we go with our sketch. That limits our visibility just a little bit and makes it so that we can clear some things out. We're going to go ahead and use the slice tool to get back to our sketch plane. We've probably seen those in any of the other modelers that you've been dealing with. And I'm going to use a project tool. We have that on our create panel, or we can use the shortcut key. And we'll just project some geometry that we're going to use here. With that added in, we can add a little bit of geometry that we can begin to define our shape with. And from here, we can go ahead and look directly at this new component just by clearing out some of our other parts. So I'll use the isolate option to do that. And I want to go ahead and add some arcs in here to join this geometry together. Instead of having to go up and search for the arc tool, I can pull up a shortcuts menu just by using the S key. Begin to type out my my tool desire, and I can see the options that I have for arc. And we'll go ahead and add these in. Relatively simple, relatively quick. And we can go ahead and add some geometric constraints in. Just a crossing window will let us add these guys in. And if we've got something like that and it kind of goes to a screwy area, no big deal. We can grab that point and slide it up just a little bit. Redefine our setup. Let's see here. There we go. And one more. Let's see if that's going to add back in here. Couple more additional clicks for me. And that's starting to look pretty good, but we want to go ahead and finish this out. So we'll begin to add in some dimensions. That's starting to get there. I think I want to add in a little bit more material over here, so we'll adjust that. That looks a little better. Let's go ahead and finish this sketch and bring back the rest of our components here. So once again, we're looking at just this rear suspension. We're looking at our linkage component, and I'm still using that or working directly with that. You can kind of tell that by the selection here. Let's see. Let's see if we can get an extrude going here. Select our profiles. Starting to look pretty good. We'll go ahead and do that as a symmetric extrude, and we can drag or we can type in a value. In this case, my 10 millimeters looks okay. And once again, as I get into this, I can see really quickly that I'm starting to get into the linkage shock arm here. So another quick adjustment on that face. And I'm able to clear out some of that material without too much problem. Now, as I do this, we can see that we're cutting away, and we're actually taking material away from our shock joint there as well. And I really don't want to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust that and remove the shock from selection here, and that gets us a little bit better. A quick look, and I can easily see that I'm going to have some interference here. So we'll use our fillet tool to clean some of that up. Let's see, let's make a little adjustment there. That looks a little better. And we need to bring that obviously over to the other side. So once again, that shortcuts menu and a simple mirror. We can come in and select those features that we want to deal with, and go in and grab that mirror plane that we dealt with at the beginning. Bring those over. So starting to look pretty good. We're getting there. Probably at this point, we can go ahead and take a look and see what else we need to do to get this assembled. We have some options for assembling things. One of the best options is our as-built joint tools. And again, we can pull that from the assemble menu, shortcut keys, whichever we want to do. We'll go ahead and grab those guys. And that shows us a little preview of how that's going to actually work. Bring that up again and get this side dealt with. And our last one. Now, if I'm going to go ahead and drag on this, no big deal. We can do so without too much issue. One of the things that I forgot to mention, obviously we've talked about some of the tools that are in Fusion. We have to remember that Fusion is a cloud-based tool. It enables you to communicate outside of your organization very easily through our access to the web portal for our particular project. We can invite our stakeholders, whether they're inside of our company or outside of our company. But inevitably, we get to that point of, well, what happens when we lose the internet connection? If we're cloud connected, what happens then? So I'm going to go up here and just do a simple disconnect here. And note that nothing really changes on screen, except that, well, I can do whatever I want. If I want to grab this guy and isolate it again, do some more work with it, no big deal. Being connected to the cloud or not connected to the cloud doesn't affect the work that I'm doing during my process here. One of the things that I do want to take advantage of is the component supplier. I need to put a pin right here, and one of the largest component suppliers in the world is directly connected to Fusion. For that, we do definitely need to be online. So I'm going to go ahead and put us back online a minute. And if we go over to our insert tab, we can see that we've got McMaster-Carr. Again, one of the biggest component suppliers in the world. We can come in here and very easily look for the type of pin that we want to add. We can get real specific with retaining ring. If you've worked with any of the McMaster-Carr options, you know you can easily go in and find the size that you're looking for. We've got head type, so on and so forth. And in this case, we'll go with this stainless steel setup here. If I select that and go into the product details, I can see the details of that component, and I even have the ability to download this. Close this just 1 minute and back out here a second. Go up to our top level. I want this component to be at our top level. So we'll work back through that just a second. Relatively quick process. And there we go. I think that's our guy right there. And let's go ahead and download this. You can see that it will pop in and just kind of place in space there. And that's no big deal. We've got a joint tool that allows us to work with those same type joints. We can do rigid joints. We can do revolving joints, sliders, cylindrical, whatever we need to do. I'll keep this one at rigid, and let's bring it over to this spot here, and it will center up. We'll flip it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And we'll simply say okay. And now as we grab this, we can see that we've got some pretty decent motion in here, and all of the components are connected as they should be. So our next little step here would probably be to take a look at our component and ensure that it's going to work as we expect it to. So we'll move into our simulation space. And here we get to see a number of options for the different types of studies that we can do. Static stress, and that's where we're going to concentrate today. But obviously modal, electronics cooling, thermal and thermal stress. We can get into some of the nonlinear static stress and even the dynamic event simulation. In this case, and like I said, we're going to stick with the static stress. Let it bring in our components. And I want to simplify this a little bit. We don't want to have to analyze this entire setup. So let's go ahead and go into that simplify workspace. We're going to grab a couple of components here. Let's see. And let's see, we probably need to adjust our selection tools just a little bit. Let's do component priority. There we go. 1 and 2. And let's clear the rest of those out. So we're gonna remove everything except what we've selected here. And I want to adjust this just a little bit further. There's some geometry in here that really won't affect our design. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that one up and select our component. You can see that we can remove features by size. Most of this has been selected, and it's letting us know what we're removing here. We can adjust that by dragging on that bar, and just simply selecting the delete will get those fillets out of the way. So we've got this one pretty well defined. We can finish our simplify setup, and let's go in and begin to add our constraints. So we'll start here with a couple of fixed constraints and make sure that we've got all of those tied down. And then I'll bring that up and adjust a pin constraint through this spot here. Our next step would be obviously defining our loads. We'll put a load right here, and we can easily adjust what that's going to look like. And then we've got the ability to change how that sits within the area selected. And we can come in and change our magnitude. We can even change units if we want to right here, just by typing out the desired unit. We can also change units permanently. You can see that we've got that option to do so here. And we'll select OK on our setup here. To check our setup to see if we're good to go, we can go through our degrees of freedom plot. We can see that everything is fully fixed by the green hue here, and some other options if things weren't fully fixed. That's one way to check. We also have a little pre-check here, and it will let us know that everything's been set up for this. So we'll go ahead and begin to solve this. As we look at this, remember that we have that ability to solve on the cloud. So I'm able to go ahead and select this and let it begin to solve the setup. And we can kind of see some options here as we go through this. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this box and go back to our design workspace while the solve is actually doing its thing. And what I want to do is start looking at the manufacturability of our component here. So I'm going to select that component, and I'm going to do a quick little derive. So I'm going to pull this out and just separate out the manufacturing side. This isn't necessarily required, but it's a neat way to do this. We'll go ahead and create that brand new component. It's by itself. I can make some adjustments, yet it is derived. So it has a link back to the original setup. So from here, I'm going to move into our manufacture workspace, and I'm going to begin our setup here. Shows a quick preview of the block, and we're going to do just a couple of simple operations here. We'll start with a face tool. Come in, and you can see there's a multitude of libraries available within Fusion. I'm going to pull up this tutorial library and grab a face mill here, and simply select OK. It'll generate that tool path relatively quickly. I'll come over to the 3D tools, and let's do an adaptive clearing. Again, we'll come in and select our tool, grab a bullnose end mill here, and just let that simply go through its tool paths. We can see that the study just finished here, so we can actually go back at this point and look directly at that simulation and see where things are. As we can tell here, we're seeing that the safety factor is quite high. definitely above the 3 that we were after. We can get in and look at some of the stress, and we see some singularities and whatnot in here. But for the most part, we can tell that this is probably over designed, and maybe we can remove some material here and see if we can't still meet our requirements. So I'm going to go ahead and close this guy out just a minute. Let's go back into the design area, and let's concentrate on our linkage joint, and even just clear some of those things out. We'll go ahead and isolate those things. We'll start a new sketch here on the face of this. You can leave it as the view is, or you can go back and adjust if you need to. And once again, I'm simply going to project some outside geometry. Let's see here. Let's grab that face right there. And select OK. Add in some. Let's do an offset here first, and get some of that face in. I think 3 millimeters will work for us. And then we'll add some circles to create a pocket. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and finish that sketch. And let's cut that pocket back just a little bit. 10 millimeters is a little too far, so let's do about 7 millimeters. That looks pretty good. And that's starting to be okay. I can tell right away that I'm not going to be able to manufacture this with these sharp corners. So once again, I can come in and adjust my selection options here. Let's do an edge priority, and then come in and begin to get some of these with the fillet. See if we can't get in there and grab those. Let's see, we got this guy here, that one, and we'll get these guys. Set up that value for something that I know our end mill can do. And again, we can change units. We've been working primarily in millimeters, but we can certainly change units on the fly if we want to. And I'm going to do one more fillet along the bottom. We'll set that at 1 millimeter. That's got us in pretty good shape. We could do some things like break edges. Depends on some of the features. I think what we're going to do here is go ahead and select these. Obviously, we need to bring those to the other side. So instead of doing a separate mirror, I'm going to grab these features and just drag them before the mirror that we created before. Then all I have to do is edit that one and include those features in it. And no big deal. We've got it pulled out. It's ready to go. We can undo our isolate. Take a look at our setup. It's looking pretty good. We can go into our setup here and take a look at this guy. I didn't save it earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and save it now, and we should see some of those changes come in as we go into our setup. Let's hit our little save here. Let's do linkage joint cam. And let's go ahead and save this guy just a minute. And we can see that we've got an update that that needs to happen here. So we'll go ahead and do so. There is our setup. And just real simply, we can grab our operations, regenerate the tool paths. Use our simulate. Let's go ahead and select up here just a minute and get all of this and play through that. And again, we can adjust that speed if we need to. Probably things that you may be familiar with. This gives us a neat indication of the manufacturability of our part. It's going to tell us whether there are collisions with our tool. If there are any issues, we can begin to see those things before we ever get to the point of making parts. So it's kind of a neat setup, a neat tool that that really gives us some good information. We'll go back to our design here and take a look at the simulation and see if anything has changed. And obviously, we're warned that that things are not current. So let's go ahead and run our simulation again. We'll let it do its thing here. As we look at this, again, we can move to different areas while that simulation is working. We can go here and into our design area. And from this, we can jump right to a manufacturing drawing. We can decide what our standard is going to be. We can decide what our units are going to be. And we can even create our own templates as we need to. We can provide our specific information. If we want to adjust what faces we're looking at, if we want to adjust that scale, no big deal. And the typical drawing tools that that we're used to seeing, we've got the ability to do projected views and section views and detail views and so on and so forth, isometric views. You know, creating a section view is a pretty simple task. Nothing real difficult by it. And slide those and create those views without too much of an issue. And if we need to adjust where our views are located, certainly drag and drop. And then we've got the standard detailing tools for dimensioning and adding notes and varying symbols. We can certainly add new sheets in. Pretty decent setup. Let's go back and take a look at our simulation and see if we're where we need to be. We've got some results that are out of date, and that was because we made our design change here, and that didn't quite come through. So let's take a look at this again, and let's see if we can get that to update the way that we want it to. There we go. So there's our updated view. Our safety factor is still well within range. We can see some different additions here, but we've got exactly what we need. Going further, we mentioned that that we would get into some of the sheet metal tools and take a look at that nesting extension. So I want to go ahead and take this just a minute. Just start a simple new design, and we've got these sheet metal tools. And I'm not going to go deep into this, but it's a pretty simple setup. Instead of working with faces and whatnot that we might might be used to with other software, we have the flange tool, and that's what we use. We begin just a simple line, and we can decide again, is this going to be symmetric? Is this one side, two sides? How do we want to do that? And begin to stretch that out. And then we can simply go to the flange tool and start this kind of thing again. If we want to adjust angles, obviously that's really simply done. If we want to use our mirror tool, again, we have that ability. We can select our given features. We can use our origin planes to add those in. Let's see here. Helps if I select the plane first. There we go. And we can very quickly go in. We can get our flat patterns. If we want to justify our sheet metal setup here, going into the sheet metal rules, we see that we've got in this particular case a default stainless steel that happens to be 07 thick. It's got its K factor in there. We can edit all of this if we so desire. We also have a library of different materials that we can adjust, and we can come in here and create our own. So if we need to add something in, create our own new rule as an option, we can do that. We can set any one of these as our default rule, whatever our desire is. Going further into this, we talked a little bit about the nesting extension. I'm going to go back to our extensions here. We've broached this subject before. We've had a couple of webinars on these different options that are available. If we get into the additive building or machining extensions, they add additional tools to the machining area. We're talking here about the nesting and fabrication area, and there's some really neat information about what is capable. We can get into some of that documentation and how things are set up, and even get into a free trial. This one uses some of the tokens or a credit card purchase. Not something that I've downloaded and installed, but know that it's there and it's easily accessed. And one other thing that I want to point out before we start taking questions, you'll notice that under my job status here, or next to my job status, I've got this number 1. Well, just today, an update for Fusion 360 came out, and we quickly see that. If you get close to that delay that you see here, it will pop up and remind you, hey, there's a change. If you close it down and start it, it will let you know. And then once you hit that update now, it'll close the software, do the update, and then open the software right back up. So kind of a neat, very powerful setup for getting the software updated. You don't have to go out and find anything. It's all right here in Canvas. That is pretty much all that I have to cover. Let's see here. Let's pull up some of these things here. And we've got our demo. Obviously, Hagerman offers a Fusion 360 new user class. We get into certainly everything except the sheet metal in that class. We get into the simulation workspace, we get into the drawing workspace, certainly the design workspace and the animation workspace. All these different options available in that class. That's a 3-day class. You can speak with your account reps about getting into that. And as you've seen before, Hagerman offers additional support with document management systems. We've got 30 years of experience and literally thousands. I think that number's a little bit old right now. Thousands of implementations, and we've got some options. Certainly, there is Autodesk Vault. Fusion has its own document management setup. But there's also some tools built by the team members here at Hagerman that add into these solutions. So at this point, we'll take some questions. Let me pull out our question panel here and see what I can see. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions at this point? There's nothing typed in right yet. Going once, going twice. I'm not seeing anybody come up with questions, and that's okay. If you come up with something or you want to ask something privately, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be glad to get those answered. Ashley, I think we're at our end here. I think we're in good shape.